You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Oh yeah, baby, that's lovely.
Good morning and welcome to Psychedelics and Educational News for December. That's right, it's December the 1st. We got one more month to go in 2025 before we bring in 2026. And just so you know, weather-wise here today, because normally when Cindy and I are together, we're talking about weather. And as you notice, Cindy isn't with me today. She has the day off. And as I said, weather-wise here, it is cold, and it's going to be getting colder. I know that the weatherman predicted let's say, a regular winter that we had in the old days. And it looks like so far he's been right so far. Let's hopefully maybe he's wrong for the rest of the year and it gets nice and warm. We'll find out. So before I get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe and like button if you're on YouTube or Facebook. That way you make sure that you get all your cannabis educational and psychedelic educational news every week. We are live twice a week. So let's see. For news today, I've got stuff coming from Canada, the USA, Finland, as well as Venezuela. Plus, we're going to Venezuela. Plus, we're going to find out about psychoactive plants and frogs. They're facing a crisis, or are they facing a crisis? But first, we're going to get started off with a story right here in Canada, and that happens to deal with veterans. And this comes to me from StratCan. Headline says, Veteran cannabis compensation cuts continue to cause confusion. The federal government's budget 2025, which was tabled on November the 4th and passed on November the 17th, included a plan to save the government $4.4 billion over 4 years by lowering the price ceiling for medical cannabis reimbursements through Veterans Affairs Canada from $8.50 a gram to $6 a gram. The program allows those approved for access to medical cannabis to be compensated for the price of the cannabis they buy from authorized medical cannabis producers. The price ceiling was previously up to $8.50 a gram for up to 3 grams a day. Now, the new payment plan would lower that compensation ceiling to $6 a gram. The projected savings, according to the response from the Department of Finance, are calculated using an accrual basis of accounting under rules that require any previous actual losses or gains that are normally recognized over time to be booked at the time of the change. Therefore, savings on a cash basis will be gradual, being realized over time as benefit payments are issued at a lower rate compared to the current status, according to the Department of Finance. They say this explanation, however, is not convincing to some critics. It took about 13 years to reach a little more than $1 billion in reimbursements. For example, in 2023-2024, there were 24,146 registered clients in Canada under the VAC program, which is the Veterans Affairs program there, and 24,329,042 grams were reimbursed. In 2024-25, that was 27,000 clients and over 30 million grams were reimbursed. Now, the Royal Canadian Legion has also raised some questions about the issue, saying the government needs to be more, to do more to address the confusion about veterans, or among the veterans, about how the changes will impact them. Yeah, well, they're losing $2.50 or 30 cents a gram on what they're going to be compensated. Everybody knows prices are going up. And unfortunately, the veterans cannabis reimbursements is going down. I hope the government will react the opposite way if the price of cannabis starts to go up, and the veterans will be that compensation amount will be readjusted. So see what happens over time. And yeah, it's their medicine. They shouldn't be cut their medicine. I completely disagree on that. I wish they had found some savings some other way around on things. So here we go. Next story. This one's coming to me from Marijuana Moment. And oops, I hit the right button there. The headline on it says that DEA moves to boost production of psychedelics to explore therapeutic potential for post-traumatic stress and depression. That's right. The Drug Enforcement Agency is proposing to raise the quota for legal production of multiple psychedelics. And that's including psilocybin, 5-MeO-DMT, and methadone for research purposes in 2026. In a notice published in the Federal Register on Friday, the DEA said it is moving to boost the quotas for the psychedelic substances so researchers can study whether they can serve as potential treatment of conditions such as post-traumatic stress and depression. The proposed production goal for psilocybin rose from 30,000 grams this year to 40,000 grams in 2026, while the psilocin quota increased from 36,000 grams to 48,000 grams just 4 years ago. In 2021, the agency only called for 35 grams. What a huge change. That grew to 2,500 grams in 2022, 11,000 grams the next year, where it stayed until this latest proposal. Boy, those numbers are going up. And for methadone, an MDMA-like compound, the increase is even more dramatic. In 2025, the agency set a goal of 5,200 grams, but in 2026, it wants 30,000 grams produced. That's 25,000 grams more in just a year. Like the 5-MeO-DMT, the production goal for methadone was minuscule for 4 years ago, when the DEA proposed the manufacturing of just 40 grams. The same quota was set in 2022 before increasing to 5,200 grams for each subsequent year until this latest proposal. Over recent years, DEA has generally ramped up production goals for cannabis and certain psychedelics as interest in their therapeutic potential has grown within the public and scientific community. The proposed 2026 quotas for cannabis, THC, ibogaine, MDMA, LSD, and mescaline were not adjusted since last year. However, these proposed 2026 quotas reflect the quantities that DEA believes are necessary to meet the estimated medical, scientific, research, and industrial needs of the United States, lawful export requirements, and the establishment and maintenance of reserve stocks, according to DEA. Now, the agency said that in setting the quotas, it took into account several factors, including projected demand for such class as indicated by procurement quotas, information obtained by the Federal Health Agency, such as the FDA, and other factors affecting medical science, scientific research, industrial needs of the United States. There you go. So they want to increase the substances, the psychedelic substances, which is good. If it's all, there's multiple uses that it's going for. including research. And there's always seems to be more and more research all the time. We're seeing it in the news constantly, which is good things. And they're getting great results with it on top of that, which is always a fantastic thing. And people are asking for it because they're trying it on themselves, and then once they get a chance to get involved in a trial someplace, they go by the trial and show that it works. People are finding benefits. So, alrighty, time for us to move on to the next story. This one comes to me from the International Business Conference. Headline, as you can see, says lawmakers support legal cannabis sales in Finland. All right, another country legalizing. Cannabis law and industry regulatory modernization efforts are picking up momentum in Europe, with a recent example surfacing in Finland. While a group of lawmakers recently expressed support for permitting regulated cannabis sales through government-run retail outlets, members of Finland's Left Alliance Party officially approved a new party position that supports adult-use cannabis legalization, including sales through state-owned stores. The announcement came during the party's recent Congress gathering. The Left Alliance, they say, supports the legalization of cannabis use and the transfer of its sales to state-owned stores in its new target program. The party also supports allowing its small-scale cultivation. The party conference decided on the matter this past Sunday, reported Helsingin Sanomat, its local coverage there. Now, the Greens, before the Left Alliance, have included in their legal policy platform for 2024 that the party wants to legalize the use, possession, manufacture, and sale of cannabis. The outlet also reported. Now, a researcher affiliated with the Metropolia University of Applied Science says, economically, shifting the cannabis market from the unregulated black market to a regulated legal industry could stabilize Finland's GDP, as the other countries who have seen a substantial increase in their GDP in the years following their legalization. Now, they also found that the taxation model suggested and used by Canada and Uruguay demonstrates how governments can effectively regulate pricing and safe cultivating methods while keeping the legal market competitive against the illicit trade. Furthermore, Finland's unique position and commitment to renewable energy could position the country as a leader in sustainable cannabis production, they added. Now, the results of this research paper have found that the legislation of cannabis provides a substantial potential benefit for Finland, as it would open up a whole new industry, as well as economically the tax revenue gained from this new industry would be used to tackle the limited negative effect that legalization would have on society, as well as potentially help tackle other societal challenges Finland faces such as overconsumption of alcohol, the study authors concluded. So there you go. There is, I like to see that they've said that as far as the alcohol end of things, because that's showing a medical benefit on why to legalize. Because it's always, when they talk about legalizing cannabis, it's always seems to be about the economic benefits and not the medical benefits aren't highlighted. And it's good to see that they talk about that there with the alcohol end of things. So, alrighty, from that story, going to move on to the next one. This time we're going to head over to some psychedelic information. Come on, click, click, click. And this next story, there we go. It is coming to me from drugscience.org. Headline, as you can see, says psychedelic species under threat. Are psychoactive plants and toads facing a conservation crisis? Yeah, good question. Now, the author says that we are in the midst of what is often referred to as a psychedelic renaissance. Research into psychoactive substances is increasing, and day by day, more medicinal uses of these medicines are being discovered. Alongside this, more people are trying psychedelics for the first time in attending psychedelic retreats. While a surge in interest is advancing research and creating patient benefits, it is also raising concerns over the conservation status of many plants and fungi and animals that produce psychedelic substances. Now, they spoke with Dr. Anna Emerkova and Sam Gundy about this stuff, and they said that they published their highlights that the important message that the psychedelic tourism and growing demand surrounding these incredible species might be posing a threat to their survival. Psychedelics such as psilocybin and LSD have become a street and research setting in the Western world. However, as interest increases, so does curiosity into different and traditional psychedelic species. Now, Ermakova and Gandhi focus on 4 of these. This Sonoran desert toad, whose milky secretions contain 5-MeO-DMT, the ayahuasca vine, popular in ceremony rituals, originating from the Amazon, harboring beta-carboline alkaloids, peyote, a slow-growing cactus containing the psychoactive alkaloid mescaline, and then there's iboga, the ever more popular shrub containing ibogaine. Now, peyote faces possibly the biggest threat to its existence out of the 4 species. Across Texas and Mexico, conservationists and neurobiologists explain that the serious situation that is unfolding and how habitable loss has been ongoing for years for the peyote cacti. Now, they work closely with the Cactus Conservation Institute in Texas and have witnessed firsthand how new infrastructure, root plowing, and replacing native vegetation with invasive grasses, the oil industry, and the land use change are all having a huge impact on peyote survival. Now, as far as the toad, they say it is listed as being of least concern on the IUCN Red List of threatened species, which is alarming because there is still an unawareness among biologists. For example, on the IUCN website, it says there are no records of this species being utilized. They say that there's secretions are indeed used for psychedelic properties. Now, Ermakova explained that the earlier you raise awareness, the more likely that the potential damage can be mitigated. That's right. Now, both of them, that's Ermakova and Gandhi, are keen to address the research gap that was unfolded with the feeling that there is a disconnect between the research into the medical value of these compounds and their underlying biology and ecology. Gandhi states that if we are going to conserve these species and their wild populations, we have to do that research. And we must address address this gap and be able to move forward. Now, as psychedelics go, 5-MeO-DMT is relatively easy to synthesize. Mescaline was the first psychedelic to be synthesized in the lab in 1990. And there have been recent breakthroughs pertaining to the lab synthesis of ibogaine. Now, these are what are used in a medical setting and are yielding impressive results, such as the 5-MeO-DMT for depression and ibogaine for addiction and other psychedelic therapies. Yeah, it's hopefully that whether it's through using it over medically or using up conservation land to expand our own footprint, doesn't put these shrubs and plants and animals at risk. And as they say with the toads, you can don't hurt the toads, you can traumatize them, and nobody wants to see that going on. So, but alrighty, shall move on to my next story. If I can find it here. Here we go. Click, click, click. Sorry, you need one of those people working in the background where no one sees it, can go ahead and do all this for us. But unfortunately, it's not the case. All right, I've got it up. There we go. This last story comes to us from I don't know, it's called the Oz or the Ounce. What do you think? Let me know. Oz or Ounce. OZ, it can mean them both. But the headline says the Vancouver Island residents using more cannabis. Well, it is Vancouver. Now, they say cannabis use is dropping on Vancouver Island, but it's still used at a higher rate than the rest of British Columbia. Now, the Island Health's annual population health status report looked at a variety of categories affecting people's health, including the use of cannabis and other substances such as alcohol. Now, they say that while we have seen a decline in consumption rates over the past few years, tobacco use, alcohol consumption, and cannabis use are all higher on Island Health than in the rest of the province, according to Dr. Rika Gustafson, Island Health's Chief Medical Health Officer. Now, the report found that 32% of the people on Vancouver Island reported using cannabis, compared to 22% province-wide. More males reported using cannabis in the past year compared to females. That's a 29 to 20%. Now, a total of 3.5% of Island Health residents self-reported cannabis dependency compared to 4.8% for British Columbia overall. Now, cannabis-related hospital admissions increased from 64 per 100,000 people in 2017 to 91.5 in 2023, after peaking at 104 in 2021. Now, among youth in 2023, 28% said they have tried cannabis at some point. Of those who have tried it, 61% reported using it in the past 30 days, which was the same as the province rate. The report found that the proportion of youth who have tried alcohol, tobacco, and cannabis have declined over the last 5 years. So there you go. That's what's going on in Vancouver Island. You don't hear too much about what's going on over there, so I thought, hey, let's find out. So that's what they're doing over there when it comes to cannabis and tobacco and alcohol. All right. Well, other than that, that's it for today. Thanks go out to you guys, for everybody, for tuning into the broadcast. Also to our sponsors, Limestone City Hydroponics.ca. And just though you know that their mail service works great. I ordered something there recently, and it was to my house within 2 days. Really appreciate that. As well as Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. You see I'm wearing their hat. Just so you know, they've announced that the month, this December, I believe it's towards the end of the month. I think it might be the 27th anyways. Big sale going on there because it's their 10th anniversary. They originally started out as Canada Days, and they have now changed the name to the Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. So, as well as thanks to At-Eze.ca. Other than that, we'll see you Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. And as I always say, don't forget to educate, medicate, and do not incarcerate.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, They offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420. We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.